Hello crafty friends. After my smusher and my glue dotter, my most asked about DIY tool is my ring of ink swatches. So today I'm going to show you how I made it. To make one of your own, you'll need your inks, your ink applicators, some strips of card, a binder ring, a hole punch and a colour wheel. Now, I know colour wheels can feel a little bit intimidating, but fear not. The colour wheel is just a round rainbow. I hope you enjoyed that little animation. My daughter made it for me. She is an amazing traditional and digital artist. If you'd like to see more of her work, then check out her Instagram account at sophiebowers.art. So, as I said, the colour wheel is just a round rainbow, so you don't need to feel intimidated by it. To get your hands on a colour wheel, you can buy one online or from an art shop. Alternatively, you can go to the Catherine Pooler website and she's got a colour wheel for her inks that's free to download. It makes swatching out her inks really easy, but it can also be used when looking at other ink brands as well. Right, let's crack on with it. So to create my swatches for my Catherine Pooler inks, I took a piece of A4 card, smooth white card, and I used my guillotine here to cut it down into 5 centimetre wide strips. That's roughly 2 inches. And then I took a hole punch and punched a hole in the middle near the top. And to get those all lined up, I just put one bit on top of another and punched through that original hole. And then using the Catherine Pooler colour wheel, I labelled each of my swatch cards with the overarching name of each sector, is it sector, of the wheel. So I've got red, then red orange, orange, all the way round to red violet. And then I got all the red inks. So the ones off here that I've got are It's a Girl and Cotton Candy from the Party Collection. And I've got Pink Champagne and Rose Petals from the Spa Collection. And I've also got Quartz, which is a red from the Spa Collection. It's a newer colour, so it's not on this particular colour wheel. But if you have Catherine Pooler inks, you can go to her website and it will tell you where they fall on the colour wheel. So I'll just take the ink pad and press it enough times to get a fairly decent amount of ink. I think my ink pads need re-inking, they're a little bit dry. So that was It's a Girl, and that one is Cotton Candy. Then I've got Rose Petals, this is from the Spa Collection. Then Pink Champagne. That's a bit blotchy, that one. And then the Quartz. Once those have dried sufficiently, I'll write their names and whether they're Party or Spa. So top tip, make sure your ink pads are fairly well inked before you do this. One thing to note though, especially with the pinks and purples, they're not very light fast. So it's worth keeping your swatches out of direct sunlight. You can see how this has become much less vibrant than this, and this here, the Pink Champagne, is really faded. Even the Quartz is quite faded. So keep them out of direct sunlight. So once I'd done the reds, I then did the same thing with the red oranges and the orange, orange yellow, yellow, green, green blue. I've got so many green blues, I had to do 2 and tell which are my favourite colours. Blue greens, blues. I'm also much more drawn to the Spa Collection than the Party. I like pastel muted colours. Blue violets, violets and red violets. And then one for the neutrals because these don't fall on the colour wheel as such. So obviously if you've got the Catherine Pooler inks, it's dead easy to make these kind of cards. You don't have to make any decisions. You literally just have to add ink to card and write down the names on the appropriate swatch strip. But what if you haven't got them or you've got other inks? Well, it's still quite useful because other inks will be similar to the colours that are on these charts, these wheels. You can also use a traditional colour wheel. So to swatch out my Distress Oxides, I just loaded up a finger dauber with ink from an ink pad, and I put it on a piece of smooth white card, and then I took it and compared it to the pinky reddy areas on the colour wheels, and I decided that's definitely a red. It's not an exact match for this, but it's not a red orange, it's not a red violet, it falls definitely in the red. So then I took a circle punch, punched it out and glued it onto my swatch strip, and I went through my Distress Oxides and did that. You could use stickers for this. You could just swatch on some circle stickers, or you could die cut out, or once you've decided, you could just literally get your finger dauber and make a swatch like that. And again, I just went through all my colours: red, red orange, orange, orange yellow, yellow, yellow green, green blue, green blue blue, all of the greeny blues, blue violet, red violet, and some neutrals. I've also swatched out some of my pens. I've done my dot markers and my brush pens. I just did one or more swatches for each type of marker. I didn't add them to the colour wheel swatches, but you could definitely do that if you wanted. So for example, my red dot marker I could put on this swatch, and then I would know that Festive Berries work really well with a red dot marker. And as useful as these colour wheels are, I do like having these strips on a ring because I can just flick through and look at my exact inks and go, oh, worn lipstick. I think that will work really nicely with this one, Salvage Patina. Or I can get my Catherine Pooler inks and mix and match them with Distress Oxides. It's just really easy to compare colours and think about colour combinations. So that's how I made my ink swatches. I am planning on doing a series of videos on colour for card makers, how to choose colours, how to know what colours go well with which other colours, which ones don't, different frameworks for choosing colour. If that's something you're interested in, do let me know, and do let me know what areas of colour choice that you struggle with the most so I can really focus in on them in that series. Right, I hope you found this helpful. If you have, please do leave a thumbs up, let me know in the comments, and if you want to see more from me, do subscribe and ring the notification bell. And I will see you back here tomorrow for another video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.